map did work out well for them. This is on Numbani. Numbani, I'd have to say, first point, absolutely defensive favorite. It is a long walk back for the offense.
Yeah, if you get picked, and you're dealing with multiple levels as well. You've got the high ground balconies on both sides where the defense can set up, as well as, I mean, this is why we see some Ana as well. You have that long alley that you can kind of keep out of line of sight and just try and heal her teammates from halfway across the map. I mean, it's a very fun map to watch. I'm always excited about Imadi just because that first point, you can really see some clever strategies come out from the team. And here we've been following the road that the payload. That's why it's called hybrid. You're going to take over a point, but after that, you're going to push a payload to the final points on the map. And so that will be going along the road, as you guys can see. Now we have Florida Mayhem getting into it. What do we make of their defensive lineup here? Is there anything that's kind of catching us off guard here, Hex?
No, it looks very standard for Numbani. Unfortunately, even though we have some Swedes on the team, no Swedish Torbjorn on the map. Sometimes you'll see him on the map, especially on defense. He can set up the turrets, of course. But Florida is going to run these distance-oriented heroes. Of course, Tavik will be on the Soldier 76. Will hold one of the ledges. Ana is often played on this map, even though maybe not on several other maps, because she's got distance healing. It's really about keeping your distance from the other team. Conversely, on the offense, you want to close that distance as soon as possible. You're going to see dive-ish oriented tanks, highly mobile tanks to get up top, being a D.Va and a Winston.
What do we make of the fact that they aren't running Lucio? If you really want to get that dive, you really want to get that speed going, are we okay with them having Zenyatta right now as the second heals? I mean, Mercy goes without saying. That's kind of standard at this point, but, you know, the Zenyatta choice.
The damage output is simply too great to leave Zenyatta off of the map there. And yes, a Lucio can come into play. He's just fallen just so much out of vogue that people want the Discord, people want the orbs, and also the orb is going to help your flankers. Prophet is going to get heals a lot easier.
Well, Birdring is currently waiting for his teammates to cause chaos over here on the high ground. That's exactly what's going on, but he gets chased back immediately. In the meantime, you have Fury pushing him back over here. Florida Mayhem doing a great job of staying alive, staying around their healers so that those guys can keep them that way. But Birdring not able to achieve anything so far in this first fight.
Well, he's able to take down Logics early in that fight, so at least they know where all their enemies are. There's going to be no one behind them. They know they're going to be coming from now. So now they can just set up this very strong defensive wall. They will bring Birdring back to life. And this is very difficult for the defense to reinitiate here. There's really no other point of aggress.
Yeah, you go from full HP to demexed and dead in the blink of an eye. Ana trying to even challenge a little bit, and she's not known for having much health to work with. We will eventually have Swoosh getting caught out. In the end, he has in fact given his body for the team. And they will pick up the first point very quickly here. London Spitfire doing fine work.
It's so important that first kill onto Logics, because in this meta with Mercy, you can bring people back to life. It is not if you die, it is where you die. He's in a position where he can't come back, and then they know their backline is safe. And look at this, they're all facing the same direction. It's a shooting gallery.
Yeah, that's exactly what Birdring wants. Hold down mouse one, rain in bullets. That heavy pulse driver just shredding people.
Shrekking is fine.
I was like, shredding? How does that work?
I think that's Shreked. I think that's accepted nomenclature in the gaming community.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's a classic as well, man. I haven't heard that in a while. But wow, Dosen decides to actually just go for the trance to stay alive. Backs off.
He's going to keep his team alive. Tavik found out in no man's land. They had to burn both support ults, but nice to get the resurrection going. They want to keep going here. Birdring's got his own visor up, trying to clean up the backline. Interesting where this fight is occurring for the Mayhem. They went very aggressive.
They were, exactly, they're on top of the point. You even have so much space that Birdring's able to get into the backline again. Nearly finds the kill there on Zupe, who just barely gets around the corner. And he is still here. Are these guys just going to keep ignoring him? And it looks like it. So long as they keep their supports alive, they can just kind of get back to, you know, we'll deal with him later. I've penciled you into the schedule, soldier. You know what? Can't do lunch, but we can do dinner.
Our dance card's a bit filled right now, but we will find a time for you. Absolutely, and they didn't even have to worry about him. He doesn't really have the burst damage to be able to cap anyone down. And now this is where the defense wants to be. They want to be up front here, holding outside of spawn, and this is a self-destruct that really you shouldn't end up dying to there. Prophet apparently all out of blinks, and Mercy unable to get out of there either, but that was a great turning point self-destruct.
I love watching Ana. Just like this, you gotta really hit your shots. You have to be on point with your aim, your positioning, and then you're dead. And then you're dead. Okay then, never mind. Forget everything I just said. Unfortunately, the positioning wasn't tip-top there.
Well, sometimes you have tunnel vision because you're looking down the scope and you don't see the volley of orbs headed right to your dome, but all for naught anyway as the rest of his team picks up that slack. And the Spitfire will continue to make progress through the streets of Numbani.
Yeah, payload moving forward, getting closer to that second point, and it's not looking like, well, maybe Florida can try and sneak Logics in on the Tracer, somebody to try and delay things just a little bit.
It's a dangerous gambit, though. It looks like they're going to maybe try the Divas coming in. Nope, backs off at the very last second. If you throw all your bodies in there to get second point, then you're already giving up this archway here. And I think this archway is more important than the second point in the situation.
Great observation, exactly, because then you can kind of get that high ground and drop down behind the defense, or the offense as well. We do have Tvik going hard right now with the visor, looking for targets, not quite finding any. He is going to lay a lot of damage into Gesture, but not before Gesture is able to slap Zupe into oblivion.
Not only was that a visor, I do believe that was a nano visor. The Ana ultimate came on him earlier. You can tell because the gun sounds even that much meaner. And they invested 2 ultimates in what amounted to absolutely 0. Their plan was to give up second, to try that fight and wipe there so they could hold there. Did not work out for them. They're going to have a Valkyrie, but so is the London Spitfire.
Exactly, they almost cancel each other out at this point. Maniton, he does have a Diva self-destruct as well. That can always be kind of fun around that angle, a little limited on where you can hide from it. But right now it's going to be Prophet putting a little bit of pressure here, just charging in, trying to collapse, and I love it. Great teamwork between him and Gesture, instantly dropping on Tvik. They forced the res, but that doesn't matter when Prophet is still picking up Zupe as well.
It was a beautiful teamwork dive to get in on there. Now they're going to force out the Valkyrie from the other side of things. Resurrections on both sides. We'll see who lives or dies when this is all shaken out. Fury's going to have a good angle if he wants to come over the top of the self-destruct as well.
Yeah, and Maniton not really able to get anything with that self-destruct. So here we go. Fury just chucks it into the corner. Not what you were expecting. Luckily, I think, luckily for Zupe, he was able to get back around. But that was cutting it a bit close.
Just trying to lock down the door, and what better than a giant bomb sitting outside there? They will complete the streets of Numbani. Spitfire not really held up a whole lot there. I can think of maybe 1-2 fights that Florida won.
Spitfire crushed the defense on A with the early picks. You're right, pointing that out. They get the res on Logix as well, and you can just, well, not Logix, rather, on Prophet, but I mean, he's just able to stay alive, pump damage, and it seems like Prophet just was able to stay alive the entire time.
It's really important for Tracers to stay alive and present that threat at all times, because when you die, then the other team knows that our backline's safe, everyone lock down this barrel, especially in first point of money, because the defense can only come in up that main street. You're already fighting a little bit uphill, which all battle tactics of history would tell us not the greatest of ideas, or you have to file in through the small stairs on the right-hand side, and none of those are really good either. So you're really stuck once you lose that pressure from the backline.
It's the choke points. You always have to get funneled in, and that's how it's all set up. Gives you points, hard points of defense. And so, like on the second point arch, that's what you were kind of hoping for there if you were Florida Mayhem, to kind of get a good shutdown, investing the nano boosted visor, and you kind of came up empty-handed. You can't really make those kinds of mistakes. You can't really stumble like that versus London Spitfire. They are clearly not going to let you get a second chance.
It's just about getting the value. And all through the preseason, Maniton's been a standout. He's been getting a lot of these big bombs, but a lot of the question has been for this team, and not only when they've been the Florida Mayhem, but in previous iterations of this roster. What are you doing when you're not getting enormous plays out of pulse bomb and self-destruct? And so what do you do when those things don't find fruition? And so far, they haven't had an answer.
Prophet was giggling away there. He is definitely cheerful. Things are going great for him. And Birdring as well, you know, doing tremendous damage on the soldier. So, I mean, things are looking very good here for London Spitfire. Now they're going to get the swap over to the defense, and we'll see if they are going to be able to hold here on this first point. When it comes to Florida Mayhem, interesting decision here to actually go for the Widow, it looks like. And it looks like they'll be sticking with it as well. And so will Logix be able to find that first pick? That's what it's going to all be about. He needs to get that kill to open the gates for his team to just swarm onto the site.
Yeah, kind of neat for Spitfire there. They actually sent the Diva down to the low ground just to scope it out, just to scout out what's happening. Of course, she's always going to be healed up and able to escape onto the high ground. So Swoosh is going to try to get to the back line here. They're going to be a little surprised that they just got high ground for free. Let's see where this Widow ends up trying to post up.
Swoosh doing a great job staying alive here. They're moving together as a unit. Makes it a little bit easier for those heals to come through and keep you alive. Logix, though, he's under pressure, but he does manage to dash back thanks to the grappling hook. That mobility from Widow really making her a high threat.
They're trying to get these sight lines in. Prophet has taken down Swoosh on the other side of things. They know exactly where that Soldier 76 is. He does the favor of stepping right into the mine as well. And these dives have not been finding the targets that they want up top until now. Prophet and Fury combined take out both supports. This might turn the tide.
This is certainly going to do it. They have to now because Fury is still alive. He's still finding targets. They get the DMAC on Maniton, and that's going to be it. Well, no, not even the DMAC. He just chucks himself off the side of the cliff. No lovely water like on his Oasis. You know, on that side, it's just nothing but cliffs.
You didn't have to tell the people there was no water. It's the cliffs of despair out there.
There you go, exactly. It's dry, it's hot, no fun. And so, they go for the hard reset. That's the message I'm trying to get across here. Florida Mayhem, they realize they lose both their supports. They're not going to have the healing. They aren't going to have the Valk, more importantly. And Zebasai, he is getting close to having Valkyrie up, but Nuss, he's already beat him to it. So it'll come down to that game of chicken. Who's going to crack first? Who's going to get the wings out first?
This is a really interesting defense. They simply don't care about the high ground. They're not presenting themselves to be available for snipers or anything of the sort. Valkyrie comes out for Mayhem to bring Tavik back to life.
That could have been a sick one. Not going to happen, though, with the self-destruct. Does buy a little bit of time. They've got one tick on the point now, Mayhem. And now, you know, when you have this passive defense, you need to remember that you have to have a presence on the point to actually contest. And sure enough, London Spitfire, they're figuring out how to make it work. Prophet killing Zupe certainly helps. And really now it's going to be another reset for Florida Mayhem. They aren't finding those trade frags right now, Hex, and that seems to be making the difference.
No, and they're throwing a lot of ultimates into the mix as well, unfortunately for them. One of the silver linings of Dosen Head going down so early in the previous two fights is he's going to have a nano up for the next fight. I think that based on the style that they've wanted to play, you're very likely going to see this onto Gesture. Birdring might get it, but I think the smarter target would be Gesture because their dives have been so smart. They're sitting in this corner. They're waiting for it. They're giving up the high ground with the notion that they're going to take it back when they're ready to.
Yeah, you can have an impact directly with the cleave from the Tesla cannon when you boost him. If you have to wait the entire time for Birdring to farm up that ult, though, that could take a little bit if he isn't going to be hitting shots. Tavik actually is going to throw down the biotic field immediately, getting a little bit scared, decides to back off, and they're going for another reset here, Florida. Don't want to have anything to do with it, but that is due to the nano boost getting used, and so they're willing to play patiently here. London and Spitfire have made their investment, and really all they got from it was time. But when Florida Mayhem only have a minute left on the clock, sure enough, 60 seconds, it is perhaps worth it.
Yeah, it was two ultimates to push them back. Gesture now, maybe not understanding he was not still boosted, goes in there and gets taken down. And now we've got a lot of trades coming back all across the board. Manitin very low is just going to try to remech and zone them out with the self-destruct.
And that's great, but Prophet is still alive. This guy keeps finding frags left and right. There's a second, the follow-up. He is making the difference right now for London Spitfire. Prophet, the standout player. He bought enough time for his teammates to get back in and start contesting that point again. And I don't know what you're doing if you're Florida Mayhem at this point. You can't back off. You've got 30 seconds, not even 20.
Prophet's got a receipt that just says Zupe because he has owned him all game. He has been a terror in that back line. Zupe has had no help to try to deal with Prophet. He's been so patient that come in onto the Diva. She wanted a new mech. Out of mech, super vulnerable, and that's it. That's dead. You just don't get back in.
Well, here we go. It's the Hail Mary coming in from Florida Mayhem, hoping to dodge and hoping to actually push that payboard forward. And this is all that they need. London Spitfire, they have already done their part. They're up 3-0, and Florida Mayhem are desperate to pick up the point. Prophet still alive, hanging out in the trance, but he'll eventually, once again, find Zupe. Zupe is so low, and Prophet will get the kill, and Gesture boosted, just doing damage left and right.
Yeah, they haven't even really had to use resurrections, even though Nuss is in Valkyrie form, and now out of Valkyrie and recharging. Simply better value has been the tail of Numbani. Yet again, London will take it.
Fantastic work from London. Again, it's a bit of a trend. It's a little bit of what we saw yesterday from Seoul. You know, a little bit of a stumble at the